Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at Grotmas Day 18, GENESTEALER cults. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Grotmas Day 18, Wish Upon the Star Children. If there's one faction that knows how to count down to an event, it's the GENESTEALER cults. For today's Grotmas calendar detachment, it's long-awaited final day. Every GENESTEALER cultist longs to witness the arrival of the Star Children, and then ascend to join them in the blessed oneness. This will be a transcendent experience, a sublime reward for their devotion, or so they believe. The reality is altogether more hideous. As the tyranids approach, the utterly alien hive mind assimilates the more nuanced brood mind of the cult. Many of the faithful die from psionic shock, while others are freed from a tyranid mind control, only to go mad with horror as the truth is revealed. The rest become short-lived puppets for the first waves of the tyranid vanguard organisms descending on the world. Exerting its will to make them fight harder and move faster, the hive mind swiftly burns out those who survive, harvesting each flicker of bioenergy to reinvigorate its more valuable tyranid organisms. Now that doesn't sound like good news for the GENESTEALER cults, we'll grant you, nor very Grotmasy at all. You might feel better about the whole affair, however, when you discover how the psionic parasitism detachment rules work. Yes, you may include tyranid vanguard units in their army, and your cultists earn +1 to hit when selecting targets within 6 inches of these organisms. The tyranids can also get +1 to hit and heal a few lost wounds, for the low price of some cultist bioenergy, perhaps with a dollop of cranberry sauce. The definitely justified devotion of the cultists towards these star gods is represented by enhancements such as inhuman integration, which grants a cultist unit weapons sustained hits 1, and by stratagems such as avenging the Star Children. When a tyranid's character is slain, GENESTEALER cults get +1 to hit and wound against whoever dared to raise hand to their long-awaited savior. Alright, so very cool and very thematic. Let's check out the new GENESTEALER cults detachment. So here we have the final day detachment. And keep in mind that you'll still have access to the current army rule. So you'll have the blip system and then also the ability to regenerate some of your units as they die throughout the game. But you're going to be giving up your chosen detachment for this detachment. Detachment rule, psionic parasitism. At the end of your movement phase for each tyranid synapse unit from your army, you can select one friendly GENESTEALER cults unit, excluding pure strain GENESTEALERs and patriarch units, and one friendly tyranids unit, each within 9 inches and visible to the synapse unit. If you do, that GENESTEALER cults unit from your army suffers a D3+1 mortal wounds, and one model in the selected tyranids unit regains up to that many lost wounds. And until the start of the next movement phase, each time a model in the selected tyranids unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. And then tyranid units from your army have the following ability. Catalyst Aura, while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a friendly GENESTEALER cult unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. Alright, so you're basically going to get to regenerate your synapse creatures by killing GENESTEALER cult models within 9 inches. So it's going to be a D3+1 mortal wounds on your GENESTEALER cult unit, and then your tyranid synapse unit is going to regain that many wounds, and then also gain +1 to hit. And then all your GENESTEALER cult unit within 6 inches of your tyrannid units are going to have +1 to hit as well. So nice little buffs, definitely some synergy between them. And then we also have the Star Children's Blessings. You can include Tyranids Vanguard Invader units, excluding Aircraft, Broodlord, and GENESTEALER's units in your army. The combined points cost of such units depends on your battle size. Incursion up to 500 points, Strike Force up to 1,000 points, and Onslaught up to 1,500 points. No Tyranids models from your army can be your Warlord. So your typical 2,000 point game is going to be a Strike Force, so you can include up to 1,000 points of Tyranids. And the main reason that the Broodlord and GENESTEALER are excluded is because you're already going to be able to take those from the GENESTEALER units in your army. Alright, and then we have 4 new enhancements. Synaptic Augur, 15 points. Tyranid model only. Each time the bearer would regain 1 or more lost wounds from a psionic parasitism detachment rule, it regains up to twice the number of lost wounds instead. So instead of regaining 2 to 4 wounds, you're going to regain 4 to 8 wounds. So pretty strong. And then we have Enraptured Damnation, 10 points. GENESTEALER cults model only. Enemy units cannot use the Fire Overwatch stratagem to shoot at the bearer's unit. So another denying Overwatch strat for your GENESTEALER cults unit. And then Vanguard Tyrant, 25 points. Winged Hive Tyrant model only. Improve the strength and armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer by 1. So +1 strength and AP for 25 points. And then we have Inhuman Integration, 20 points. GENESTEALER cults model only. Weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have the sustained hits 1 ability while targeting an enemy unit within 6 inches of 1 or more friendly Tyranids units. So we have 2 Tyranid and 2 GENESTEALER cults enhancements. A little bit of restriction with one of the Tyranid enhancements being on a Winged Hive Tyrant, especially as they don't typically see that much play. But with the regeneration and a lot of other cool stuff in here, this could definitely be a nice, fun, and thematic new detachment. Now a quick word from today's sponsor, CMO Games. CMO Games carries a full range of Games Workshop products including miniatures, paint, terrain, tools, and more. They take pre-orders for most Games Workshop new releases as early as possible, usually 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. CMO Games offers 15% off of MSRP for most all Games Workshop products and offer fast free shipping to the continental United States on orders over $50. Most orders ship out within 24 hours. You know their customer service is top-notch as they've been selling games online for over 20 years. Use the affiliate link below and let them know that Warhammer Man sent you. Alright, so let's check out our 6 new stratagems. Hyper Ferocity, 1 command point, fight phase. 1 Genestealer cults unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, reroll a wound roll of 1. If 1 or more friendly tyranids units are within 6 inches of the enemy unit, you can reroll the wound roll instead. So 1 command point to reroll wound rolls of 1 on a Genestealer cults unit, or reroll all wound rolls if a tyranid unit is within 6. And then we have Psi Surge, 1 command point, start of any phase, 1 Tyranid unit from your army. Until the start of the next command phase, increase the range of your unit's catalyst ability by 3 inches. Each time you use this stratagem until the end of your next command phase, you cannot use this stratagem again. So start of any phase, but limited to once per battle round. And then we have Divine Imperative, 1 command point, your charge phase, 1 Genestealer cult unit from your army that is not declared to charge this phase. Select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of 1 or more Tyranid units from your army. Till the end of the phase, each time your Genestealer cults unit declares a charge, if that enemy unit is one of the targets of the charge, add 1 to charge rolls made for your unit, and you can reroll the charge. So that is pretty good. So you could basically charge in a Tyranid unit, bring a Genestealer cults unit in from Deep Strike, and then reroll your charge roll with +1. So very strong. And then we have Darting Attacks, 1 command point, your shooting phase or charge phase, 1 Tyranid unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. So fall back, shoot, and charge for 1 command point on a Tyranid unit. Always nice. And then we have Avenge the Star Children, 1 command point. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit has shot or fought, target 1 Tyranid character unit from your army that was destroyed by the enemy unit that phase. You can use this stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. Effect: until the end of the battle, each time a Genestealer cults model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll and add 1 to the wound roll. So one of your Tyranid characters dies, you pop this stratagem for 1 command point, and then all of your Genestealer cults units are going to have +1 to hit and +1 to wound until the end of the battle. So very good. And then Resistance Tunnels, 1 command point, end of your opponent's fight phase, target 1 Genestealer cults or Tyranid unit from your army that is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Remove that unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. So 1 command point to up down a Tyranid or Genestealer cult unit. Always a very strong stratagem. So that is our final day detachment. Definitely very thematic. You're going to want to run probably around 1,000 points of Tyranids and 1,000 points of GSC. They're going to work really well together with a lot of synergies, giving themselves some different buffs. You have the ability to heal your big Tyranid monsters. You have some nice enhancements, including one that doubles the healing. You have some cool stratagems. Some of them are a little bit situational, but the up down, the fallback shoot and charge, bonuses to charge at a deep strike, definitely leaning in on like some shooting, but like overall I think combat will be strong in this list. So very cool, and this will allow a lot of players to put together 1,000 points of Tyranids and 1,000 points of GSC into a single army. So if you don't have a full army of one or the other, you can essentially blend them together and play both. So very cool. I'm sure there's some cool combos here. There's definitely some nice abilities, and especially with the recent nerfs to GSC, still having full access to the army rule, but then only using half as many units, and then having a bunch of Tyranids as well. Going to make sure that you get back the key units that you want. Definitely very good. So let me know what you think of the new final day detachment. It is very, very thematic. I think it has some definitely nice plays to it, some good combos, some good synergy, and it's very thematic. As always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on most Games Workshop products, and make sure to tell them that Warhammer Man sent you. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.